Do your plays.
All right, all right. So we'll start off here with the Boxino, and first off we have Donovan Dennis against Andre Fedosov. This is an exciting fight. They both have one common opponent in there, which is Nate Haven. It's not a guy you can really use as a marking point because Donovan Dennis got caught cold by him, and then Fedosov, just took him out as quick as Haven took out Dennis. Dennis, he's got a size advantage, 6'4", 79-inch reach. He's 12-1. His pros as a fighter is he's fast. He moves well for a big guy. Good power. He's a decent finisher. He catches guys with sneaky shots that he'll get in there after a jab that people don't expect. Something come behind them because it doesn't seem like he's set for him. But his cons is that he drops his hands low when he throws, and he's not going past 6 rounds. Stamina's a big question here. He seems tired after a few rounds, or if he throws a big flurry and doesn't land everything flush, it takes him a while to get his air back. And he's not the best inside fighter. And prior to the Boxino, his level of competition has really been subpar. And I'm not trying to pick the guy apart. I really like him, and I think he's talented. But I'm just saying how it is, and I think that's the reason why he lost to Haven is because he wasn't prepared for somebody as big as he is with that much power. Now Fedosov, even though he's only 6'1", he's a little bit older. He's been stopped one time on cuts, and that was to Brian Jennings. His pros there is he's an all-pressure fighter. He's been in with the better competition, obviously, because he's been in against Jennings. He's not fast, but he's faster than he looks. He does nothing fancy. His style or defense, offense or defense, kind of seems ordinary, but it's really not because his offense is nothing but pressure, pressure, pressure. He's very confident. He has a very good chin. He believes in his ability to win. And one thing that I've noticed about Fedosov, Bill, over time during watching his career is every time he comes into a fight where he knows he has to step up, he comes in better shape than he has the last time. He'll drop 10 or 15 pounds, and he fights up to his level of competition. The one cons that I see about him is he often follows his opponents around instead of cutting off the ring. He should step back a little bit when he instead of being more aggressive at times. And his footwork is not the best in terms of positioning, but Donovan Dennis has some bad habits. The fact he's never been past 6 rounds is going to be his downfall because he does drop his hands when throwing a shot, and Fedosov is going to capitalize on that because he has a really mean hook that gets in there. And when he gets in there, he hurts guys. Matter of fact, that hook is what actually drove Brian Jennings back to the ropes quite a bit. So my final prediction on that one is it's going to be Fedosov by late stoppage.
That's a tough one. That's a tough fight because I agree with everything you said about both fighters. And Fedosov, although he's clearly the favorite going in, I thought he was the favorite going into the tournament. He definitely, isn't all that. He's small. He fights open. He's one-dimensional. It's going to be a matter of whether Donovan Dennis can utilize his own skill set. I think that Fedosov is going to go for the kill, and like you, I think it's going to succeed. I just could see him getting stopped, going in wide and open and underestimating Donovan Dennis, and next thing you know, saying what happened. But like you, I'm picking Fedosov. What's the next one?
He does have that, he does have that high guard. You know what I mean? He does hold it up pretty high. Now and then, he gets caught, and. Agree perfectly. He does throw wide in that, but Donovan Dennis has that same issue, and Donovan Dennis has been stopped cold. Fedosov, his stoppage loss came on cuts. He's never been down, and he's never been out. So that's the difference. The chin might be the biggest factor in that fight.
Well, he was down in this tournament already. Remember, he hit the canvas. I think in his last fight.
Fedosov did?
Yeah, he hit the canvas. He wasn't hurt, but he definitely went down. Fedosov went down in that fight. It was like in the.
That's my mistake then.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying he wasn't hurt. It wasn't like he had a. I think it was just one of those flash knockdowns. But what about the Brandon Adams-John Thompson fight?
Brandon Adams, the guy we all like. And 5'9", he's not really the biggest guy in this tournament. He especially wasn't the biggest guy in the middleweight tournament. He only has one loss, and that's to, Willie Monroe Jr. Nothing to be embarrassed about there because Willie's a top-rate boxer. The pros of Brandon Adams, he has a lot of power, decent speed, he pressures guys, manages to maintain his stamina. The good thing about him is he gets better every time out, and he's learning on the job. 154 pounds, Bill, so far seems to be his best weight. At middleweight, he wasn't too bad either. Just, again, he was outsized. The cons about Brandon Adams is he gets reckless at times. He has a solid chin, but he can be countered. And he has troubles with guys that moves well. Thompson is one of those guys. Adams would rather slug than box. While he's great at that, and he has good power, and he has a good chin, he can get countered because of the lack of experience. And, John Thompson, he's not a knockout puncher, but you know what? He can score points. Now, Thompson, because he's the last-minute replacement, we're already, praising this kid because, he's made it so far. He's tall, he's 6'1". You don't see him give up his height very often. He's fast and has some sting to it. It's not a powerful jab, but it's enough to make guys think before coming in. He gets a lot of work done with that jab, and he sets up combinations. He has a KO loss to Frank Galarza, but, the KO loss was more or less after he dominated Galarza in that first round. I don't think he was expecting Frank Galarza, or any of us were expecting Galarza to come out that quick. And that's what happened. Thompson just got overwhelmed. The problem with that is Brandon Adams has way more power than Frank Galarza. And that's not, putting Frank Galarza down, but, Brandon Adams has, solid power. And, if he comes in there and he goes after Thompson the same way Galarza does, I don't know if Thompson's going to be able to keep him off because, his jab is actually the hardest punch. I think Thompson is going to win some early rounds. He's going to get Brandon Adams thinking, and then he's going to let loose. Thompson, he's going to, be able to outbox him at times. Adams is going to get kind of reckless. But, Thompson, the one bad thing he does is he will walk back to the ropes. We've seen it quite a few times. We've seen it in the Ricardo Pinell fight. We've definitely seen it in the Galarza fight. And that's when Brandon Adams is going to do his best work, and he's going to stop Thompson late.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think Brandon Adams is destined to win this. I kind of think they did this tournament around him, hoping that he would win. I think Banner Promotions has a lot of plans for Brandon Adams, and I just think John Thompson was lucky to be in the spot he was. He backed it up with another win, but his luck runs out tomorrow night. I'm with you with Brandon Adams. Finally, James DeGale against Andre Durrell. Loved this fight. I was even considering if I would be able to do a post-fight on this. This is how much I love this fight. How do you see it?
I love this fight, too. I really do. And, I've been getting a lot of flack on social media, both of our accounts, whether it be Twitter and, personal Facebook pages because, how much I really like this fight. And, I was part of their press conference as well. Andre Durrell, he's very fast. He's very slick. His jab is his rangefinder. He has a lot of amateur experience. He uses his feet well. He has power, but not power that makes anybody look at him and say, wow. Since his return in 2013, who's he really fought? He beats his chest. He talks a lot, but I think he has a lot of false bravado, to be honest with you. Durrell can use his speed to avoid danger. He uses his movement, but Durrell, one bad thing about him is he doesn't like getting hit, and he never has. Anybody who ever watched Durrell as an amateur will notice he had those same habits then as he does now as a professional. A lot of people like to bring up the fight over in during the Super 6 when he faced Arthur. But you know something? I was just watching today Andre Durrell against Triple G in the amateurs, and the same thing happened then. Anytime Andre Durrell got touched, he seemed to panic and grab Triple G, and that's, a problem, especially at this level. I really question Andre Durrell's heart, and I think a lot of people do. Now, DeGale, he's a very good pressure fighter who mixes up his attack. When he has the guy on the defensive, DeGale goes from top to bottom with his attacks. He doesn't do the same thing, repetitively. And the thing with DeGale is he knows how to make his opponent move his hands to a spot they don't want to. If DeGale wants to get you to the head, he knows to hit you to the body. He wants to go after your body, he knows to go after, to get you to bring your hands up to the head. One thing I noticed about DeGale is something that's really subtle, but, it's very slick. I watched him in a fight, and I think it was against Paul Smith, where he managed to get Paul Smith to raise his left hand up and drop his right hand. This way he was able to counter him with a a right hook to the body and then a left to the head. And then, he caught Paul Smith with that a few times, and at that point in time, Paul Smith had a lot more experience than him. And DeGale is patient. He's willing to follow his opponent around, but, he cuts off the ring rather well. He's not a one-punch stoppage guy, but he does let his hands go freely. He fights very well off the ropes, something Andre Dirrell does not do. And when he throws his hook, he throws it in 2s and 3s. He knows that he's not going to land all 3 of them, but he's willing to take the chance that, if I have to throw 3 to land 1, that's what I'm going to do. DeGale's cons are he will drop his hand low at times, and he paws his jab out, and he doesn't put no power behind it. It's like a range finder, but it's almost a pointless range finder. Andre Dirrell can capitalize on that because he's very fast, and he can build up points on that and make DeGale do things he might not normally if he knows he's falling behind on the scorecards and he knows he's in hostile territory. Even though DeGale, like I said, is not the fastest guy, and something, he does follow opponents, and then he'll cut off the ring, and he mixes everything up. Andre Dirrell may get a little bit frustrated because he's on a big stage right now, and the only thing that may phase him in this is if he goes the distance and he gets, a little bit of, generous, I might say, hometown scoring, not hometown, but, home country scoring. My official pick here is going to be DeGale, because I really think once Andre Dirrell comes out strong early, DeGale is going to make him question himself, and we're going to see Andre Dirrell going into full retreat mode.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm picking DeGale in this fight. I've never been a big fan of Dirrell. Either Dirrell brother, no disrespect. Great story and everything else, and I think that they're good fighters, quality fighters, world-class fighters. It's just that, you don't get better. And Dax, you and I have been talking about this for years, and we talk about it not only privately but also on the show. You just can't get better when you're not given the opportunity to fight better opposition. James DeGale has fought the better opposition, and he's been doing it for a long time. I'm with you. I'm picking James DeGale. Hey, before I ask you, great job as usual. Before I ask you some other quick questions, real quick, heavyweight fight. I'm in discussion here in the chat room from Russia. Mike Perez against Alexander Povetkin. Who do you like in that one?
Oh, Alexander Povetkin all day long.
See, I
don't even think that it's going to be really competitive, to be honest with you. Other than a very big and a very strong Vladimir Klitschko, who actually in that fight kind of looked like he wanted to make a statement. He wanted to assert he was the boss all night long, and it was a dirty, ugly fight. But other than that, I've never seen I've never seen him manhandled like that. So I'm going to have to go with the former champion all the way. Mike Perez. I think his best moments, might have been, the Mago fight, and I don't mean because of what happened afterward, but that, so far has his best performance to date, in my opinion. Povetkin, he has longevity. He has longevity towards, a higher, towards the top of the sport. He had a good run there as the champion, and, I honestly think that, Povetkin is going to be a champion again. Maybe not, take Vlad's title, and he may not take Wilder's title, but, I really do think that, if he fought for the WBA title again, he would take that. And if Lucas Brown against Povetkin, that would be a darn good fight, if Lucas Brown could ever get his hands around the title.
I think Povetkin could beat Wilder, but listen, I'm going on a limb right now. I'm picking Mike Perez in this fight. I like Perez, but he looks like he's a little tubby, and you're right. His best fight might have been behind him, but good job as usual with that, Dax.